Good evening and welcome to Look North, our top story tonight. The autistic boy from North Yorkshire who hasn't been to school for a year. His mother says there's nowhere suitable that has a space.
The environment of a mainstream school is just overwhelming for a child like Mickey. It's overstimulating. It needs to be where, in small classes, where he can have regular breaks to outside, sensory rooms.
The council says there's huge demand and they have created hundreds of new places. Also tonight, the father of a 16-year-old who drowned in a South Yorkshire reservoir is warning others about the dangers of open water this summer.
As you can see and hear, Sheffield City Centre is ready for the start of the Euros tournament. This is Devonshire Green, which has been turned into a viewing area for the masses, for football and other things for the next month.
A witch's coven and a new exhibition dedicated to spooky beliefs of the past. Join us later for a little bit of magic.
And the desperate search for summer continues. Join me later in the programme to see if I've managed to find it. Spoiler alert, it's not looking great.
Hello and thank you for joining us this Friday evening. First tonight, a woman from North Yorkshire whose son hasn't been to school for a year says they're being failed by the education system. Stacey Gouldston's 11-year-old son Mickey is autistic and has ADHD and learning disabilities. He was offered a place at Brayton Academy in Selby, but the school says it doesn't have the staffing for one-to-one support or calm spaces to meet his needs. Well, currently 97,000 children in Yorkshire receive special educational needs support through what's known as an education, health and social care plan. That number has risen by 21% since 2016. Many of those receiving SEND support are autistic, and in the last academic year, figures show nearly 5,500 autistic pupils in Yorkshire were persistently absent, missing 10% or more of the school year. Nicola Rees has more.
Can you please just leave me alone?
Do you want me to go?
Life with 11-year-old Mickey is challenging, both for him and his family.
Behaviours range from throwing chairs, horrendous meltdowns, banging his own head, hurting himself. You draw your tower and I'll draw Evil Ed.
No.
Mickey has autism, ADHD and learning disabilities. He should have started high school a year ago. Instead, he's at home.
The environment of a mainstream school is just overwhelming for a child like Mickey. It's overstimulating. It needs to be where, in small classes, where he can have regular breaks to outside, sensory rooms. Everything really that Mickey needs to access education isn't in a mainstream school.
I got excluded and it was just, I can't remember it clearly, but it was just traumatic for me. I attacked a teacher and that's why I got excluded.
The family's in a dispute with North Yorkshire Council. They've allocated Mickey his nearest secondary school, but Stacey's refusing to send him.
I feel bullied as a parent to putting my son into a situation that he simply can't cope with. He's disabled and they can't keep him safe, and because of that, the council are going to take me to court for non-attendance, which to me is crazy.
Brayton Academy told Stacey they didn't have the staffing capacity to offer one-to-one support or the calm spaces that Mickey would need. In a statement, they say they've offered a number of educational options within the academy to support Mickey, and they'll continue to work with his family and the local authority to source a suitable long-term provision.
Leave me alone.
Okay.
Please.
All right, okay.
He's regressed because he's not getting the education that he needs. He's not around other children like him. So yeah, it's really challenging having Mickey at home. As much as I love him, it's not the right environment for him to thrive.
I miss seeing my friends, I miss seeing my best friend, I miss playing with them, I miss creating games and I miss making comics with them.
We asked the council about Mickey's situation. They said, there's huge demand for special school places and we commission proportionately more than the national average. In recent years, more than 420 new places have been developed and robust plans are in place to further increase this. We'll continue to engage with the family in this case to ensure they're supported.
I feel our children are being let down. They've really been thrown under the bus by the lack of provisions, lack of resources. All the special educational needs school around here are oversubscribed. There's like 100 applications for 7 spaces at the one that I went to view the other week. I'll keep fighting like a lot of parents, you know, you've just got to keep going.
Stacey's appealing against the council's decision. A resolution could be many months away. For Mickey, that's more lost time, away from friends and learning. Nicola Rees, BBC Look North, Brayton.
And a really stressful situation for the family. Well, earlier I spoke to Dani Lehman-Hill from the charity Ambitious About Autism, and I asked her how common situations like Mickey's are.
Unfortunately, it's very common. A quarter of all autistic young people in this country are persistently absent from school, meaning they're missing out on more than 10% of the school year. And some young people, like Mickey, are missing out altogether, not accessing an education, not able to build friendships, which has a big impact on mental health. And there's a huge strain on parents like Stacey, who may be stuck at home having to support a young person.
Yeah, we saw the distress in that piece, didn't we? But in North Yorkshire alone in the past year, the council have had over 1,000 applications for support from parents just like Stacey. If every one of those children requires one-to-one support and quiet spaces, etc., how can any local authority be expected to facilitate that? It's a tall order, isn't it?
Well, we think this is about being ambitious for young people who have different needs. Mickey has every right to an environment in which he can thrive and access the education that would help him progress in life. And we think that there are cost savings further down the line if only we can enable and support this diverse mix of young people in this way. It's quite understandable that distressed parents are having to pursue lengthy, expensive tribunal processes in order to get that basic support that they're legally entitled to. We really think local authorities need more funding and support from central government to provide better support in these sorts of situations.
Dani, I'm sure it's a subject we'll return to again. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Well, our political reporter Gemma Dillon joins me now. Gemma, this is something families have been campaigning on for some time, isn't it?
It is. It's something we've spoken about on Look North many times before. In January this year, I went down to London with a group of parents, a couple of them from Leeds, who are part of a campaign group, who went to speak directly to MPs of all parties to explain the problems and challenges with SEN funding and school places. They went to try and get the political parties to put it in their manifestos. So how did they do? We had a little look. The Conservative manifesto says they want to deliver 60,000 more school places and a further 15 new free schools for children with special educational needs. Labour says it plans to join up services more and work to identify children's needs at a younger age. It also wants to improve expertise in mainstream schools alongside ensuring that special schools are able to support children with the most complex needs. The Liberal Democrats, they say they'd give local authorities funding to reduce the amount that schools have to pay towards the cost of a child's education, health and care plan. The Greens, they too are pledging money, £5 billion fund to be invested in SEND provision within mainstream schools. They say it would mean schools would have fully accessible buildings and all schools would have specialist trained teachers. The Yorkshire Party say they would increase provision as well, provide better funding for schools and colleges to support those children. Now, I have asked the Reform Party as well what they do. They are yet to respond to me. But you just heard there, with all of the main parties, it comes with more money, more funding. So it'll be interesting to see where that money comes from, because we know the public purse is really stretched.
Certainly, but there is definitely room for improvement, Gemma. Thank you very much. Now, some more news from around the region, and 3 men have appeared in court and denied murdering Kevin Pakuta in Sheffield last year. Mr Pakuta, who was 19, was shot dead in Page Hall Road in December. Today, Lester Ramsey, Leon Waite and Jake Brown all appeared at Sheffield Crown Court and pleaded not guilty to a charge of murder. Police are looking for an armed man who robbed a shop in Barnsley. A man with a gun threatened staff at a shop in Kerrisforth Road on Wednesday evening. He got away with cash. Police are appealing for any witnesses. The father of a teenager who drowned in a South Yorkshire reservoir has warned other young people about the dangers of open water this summer. Sam Haycock drowned in 2021 at Ully Reservoir near Rotherham. His dad Simon says it's now his life mission to stop more lives being lost. He's taking part in water safety sessions with school children, as Tom Ingle reports.
Has anybody experienced cold water shock?
A lesson to save a life. It's delivered by a man with more reason to care than most. Simon Haycock's son Sam drowned here 3 years ago. He doesn't want it to happen again.
So there's that much water there and it's really deep. All right, even on our hottest summers, it will never ever get warm. It's just my life's mission now. It's changed my life, and this is what I do now: water safety. Just getting the message out and educating kids about the dangers of open water.
These children from Aston Lodge Primary School in Rotherham are spending the day learning about using a throw line, phoning 999,
Fire rescue, what's the address emergency?
and how to spot hazards around the water.
The chances of actually having to use this is very small, but like in case that you do, you must know about it.
If you're ever like drowning and or you need to help someone that is drowning, you always know what to do.
It can potentially save a life or more than one life.
Unfortunately, Sam lost his life to peer pressure. It was who was going to jump in the water. So don't swim if you're being peer pressured into it or you don't feel comfortable yourself. Sam was a real boy, 16 years of age, just like these lot will grow up into. And I think there's a perception with kids that it's not going to happen to them. But unfortunately, this really does hit home to them that this is the father who's lost his child. So that message really does hit home with the children and, say, the wider community.
It's the start of another annual water safety campaign. The fire service say, while ever there's temptation from open water, telling the next generation about the dangers it holds goes on. They emphasise it's not just children who need to learn these basic life-saving skills. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North, Rotherham.
Now, an exercise and wellbeing programme for cancer patients in Sheffield has proved so successful it's being expanded to other towns in South Yorkshire at a cost of £4 million. Yorkshire Cancer Research, which is paying for the programme, hopes the NHS will eventually replicate it across the country. Kathy Killick has more.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
One fitness class can look much like another, but the difference with this one is that all the participants have cancer. They're on the Active Together programme run by Sheffield Hallam University. As well as exercise, they get diet help and psychological support. It all really helps.
They'll have better emotional health, they will be able to tolerate their treatment better as they go through, and also it should reduce the severity of side effects that people have from their cancer treatment as well.
The programme's proved so helpful, Yorkshire Cancer Research are spending £4 million rolling it out to Rotherham, Doncaster and Barnsley.
So it can do things like improve your immune system, it can reduce different hormones in the body that can promote cancer growth. So there's lots of different things going on, and the evidence from around the world is now extremely compelling.
One beneficiary of the programme is Catherine Cooper. She already had a heart condition and arthritis before her cancer diagnosis and had pretty much given up on life.
Slowly on the way back down.
The change she's experienced is remarkable.
I'm at the stage where I go to dance-to-size classes, which I love. I've joined another programme called Living Well. I go swimming once a week. I do chair aerobics once a week. I said, you've changed my life. And I found myself again, which is brilliant.
The programme wasn't available for Caroline Wheeldon when she had breast cancer 5 years ago. She muddled through finding classes off her own bat, but it was an effort, especially when she wasn't well. She firmly believes in the healing power of exercise and welcomes the programme's expansion.
Something like this where it's tailored to them and they're given all the information on everything from exercise to diet to mindfulness, and it is such a big help, I think, in a cancer experience.
Along with exercise, the programme offers hope and support to patients with a diagnosis no one should face alone. Cathy Gillick, BBC Look North, Sheffield.
Yes, great work. Now, you probably don't need me to remind you, the Euros get underway later with Scotland taking on the host Germany. England are, of course, playing their first match on Sunday, and football fever is already starting to take hold here as preparations and predictions begin. Paul Ogden is in Sheffield for us tonight in the fan zone at Devonshire Green. Oggy, exciting times.
There will be, Amanda. You're right, football fever is coming, but it's not quite here yet, admittedly, in Sheffield. The point is, this is the fan zone in Devonshire Green. I always love this green space right in the middle of Sheffield city centre. It's rightly billing itself as the biggest fan zone in Sheffield. Behind me you can see the stage where there'll be music tonight from Matt Hook, and this is where fans will gather in what is a free public space throughout the course of the whole of the next month for the Euros, except there is a catch for the admission fee that will be charged for England games only. But otherwise, even when there are no Euros matches, Wimbledon, for example, will be shown live on the big screen. Glastonbury, I'm told they're going to show as well. And just for good measure, the atmosphere building up already round here at the famous Forum, the Common Room. We've been regulars there on Look North over recent tournaments. To remind you about the football itself, England kick off Sunday night against Serbia. Here, the England squad training includes, of course, Kyle Walker and John Stones, both South Yorkshiremen, not Kyle Walker, not Harry Maguire, who will be sorely missed. He had to drop out injured. There are plenty of opinions flying about outside about England's chances, though.
I'm excited, yeah, in terms of going out for beers, watching England win because it was quite bad last time. So yeah, I'm just quite pessimistic but still hopeful.
What makes you pessimistic?
Just from not last year's results, but last Euros results. So I can't get too excited after last time.
I just don't do football. Football has not interested me whatsoever.
It's good for the city, good for business, yeah, and aside from all the politics, it's something for people to look forward to.
It's nice to see that everyone's coming together and it's nice and respectfully done and bring everyone together here.
And there's some evidence that Sheffield is the diverse city that we know it as, because there are actually some people who aren't interested in the football but are intrigued by this prospect here. If you're wondering, by the way, the picnic tables down at the bottom, that, when England are playing, will be the VIP area, right in front of the screen, table service as well. But remember, there is an admission charge for England games only. Now, plenty of opinions flying about, predictions as well, no doubt behind Ed, our cameraman, in the Common Room and in the Forum. Some of our animal community have also been predicting, with their own body language, England's chances. For example, Gromit the tortoise from Filey, judge the body language, that doesn't look like a pessimistic sign to me. Meerkats of Yorkshire Wildlife Park also throwing their two penneth in as well, with their signs, I think, towards a draw, if you look very carefully. And I really did say that on BBC Look North, live tonight, ahead of the Euro start. This is the last time we're going to see this fan city in Devonshire Green empty. Enjoy it while it looks like that, Amanda. I think they probably are going to need you to come down and rev the crowd up when the time is right. Back to you.
Just give me a few minutes, Oggy, and I will be there. Thank you very much. Those deck chairs are a little bit optimistic, aren't they? But we'll have to wait and see. Abby will be here with a forecast soon. Now, get your broomsticks at the ready if you're in York tonight. That's because a coven of over 100 witches are due to meet for a magical get-together. It's being held at the Hocus Pocus Hotel in the heart of the ancient city. We sent our spellbinding reporter, Beth Parsons, along. Beth, it's all yours.
Now, sometimes rain isn't very obvious on the television, but I think some witches are in bad moods tonight because the heavens have absolutely opened in the Shambles in York. We are at the Witches Coven event, back for the second year. It did so well last year, they wanted to come back again. It's hosted by the Hocus Pocus Tiny Hotel. But before I go in and chat to the people, the spooky ghouls inside there, let's have a listen to this. At the Rydale Folk Museum, they're finding all sorts of goodies from witchcraft and traditions in Yorkshire. And Carla Fowler reports. I'm going in.
These mysterious objects at the Rydale Folk Museum were once considered evidence of witchcraft. The women who owned them were called witches, but in this new exhibition, believe it or not, their true names and stories are revealed. At the open-air museum, their world is brought to life. Superstition was the norm, and ordinary women who practised healing, had knowledge of herbs, or were simply unpopular could be labelled a witch.
So this is the witch's hovel?
This is the witch's hovel.
And how authentic is this?
So it was built to represent the stories of the women accused of witchcraft. We have evidence from a manuscript called the Calvert manuscript from the early 19th century that every village had its own witch, and we've got their names recorded. At Rydal Folk Museum, we're very clear that these women were not guilty of the sorts of things that they were accused of. They didn't really cause the crops to fail. They didn't cause the cattle to have a disease. And so we want to really set that record straight.
These appear to emerge from a particular tradition of ritualistic magic, which
It wasn't just belief in witches. Hundreds of objects marked with curious symbols like the St Andrew's cross, hexafoils or daisy wheels are on display. Secret, protective markings were all over the average person's home.
We've got objects from the 1700s right up until the present day, and they range from some of these curious posts you see behind me called witch posts to everyday household objects such as knitting sheaths, apple scoops and biscuit moulds. They give us a clue to how our ancestors felt in the past. Where did they feel vulnerable? How did they protect themselves? How was magical thinking weaved into their everyday lives?
Though rare, more witch posts have been found in the North York moors than anywhere else, most often by fireplaces or door frames. Now the museum wants the public's help in finding more. They think there are more of these out there. So if you are in an old building, keep an eye out for this St Andrew's style cross, because it could be a witch post.
We really want to get people to help us to build up a database about where these incredible and quite rare objects might be.
The Believe It or Not collection will be casting its spell at the Rydale Folk Museum till November. Carla Fowler, BBC Look North, Hutton Le Hole.
So from the old-fashioned traditional witch then, let's go to the modern-day witch or two. Welcome inside the Hocus Pocus Tiny Hotel here in York. These are the owners. It's their idea to have this event. Vincent, what's going to happen tonight?
Hi Beth. So once the guests arrive, we're then going to go through a process of a blessing of a sage, and then the guests are going to travel through the haunted and ancient rooms of Hocus Pocus Tiny Hotel by our special guest, Mad Alice. And then Mad Alice will take them through the ancient haunted streets of York, stopping at 4 different places.
Okay, what a night. Let's come to Camellia then. So this is quite a fun evening, but actually witchcraft is still very important to a lot of people.
Yes, it is. So we are here exactly to celebrate, you know, the magic of the modern witchcraft, because the witches are all over the place in these modern days. So we have tarot readers, we have yoga practitioners and hypnotherapists, why not? And we are all over the place, so it's a good way to celebrate
very magical group of people we've got going on here. Let's come down here. Now, this is a little unsteady and a wonky of a building because it's incredibly old. But if you have a look in this corner, someone who calls herself a wench, I'm not being rude, this is Mad Alice. And you know a thing or two about York being quite witchcrafty.
I do indeed. With 2,000 years worth of history on our York streets, we've had many a witches grace our presence. So I'm going to be taking people around this evening and telling them all about the spooky stories.
Oh, OK. Good luck. I'm a little bit nervous. Back to you, Amanda, from the Hocus Pocus Tiny Hotel in York.
Eek, and what a fabulous building. Now, on to the weather prospects. This is our last 6:30 together, Abby, as you move on to pastures new.
I know, it's been so nice to cover Keighley occasionally, allowed to stay up a little bit late. I feel like a proper grown-up doing this shit.
Well, we'll make the most of you while you're still here.
Thanks, that's very kind.
Sunshine?
No, I wish. Let's just take a look at a couple of photos. I managed to find one or two with a little bit of sunshine, so thank you to Sue in Wakefield for sending this photo in. But I think for the vast majority it's been pretty cloudy today, hasn't it? And we've seen some really heavy showers or thunderstorms, particularly across parts of South Yorkshire and North Derbyshire. If you do take a weather photo this weekend, I imagine it'll look quite a lot like this, but please do send it in to us here at Look North. All the details on your screen behind me. You can tweet them to me, you can send them on Instagram, or you can sign up to become one of our lovely weather watchers. But the forecast for the weekend is much more of the same to come. We've got low pressure very much in charge of things, so that mix of heavy showers or thunderstorms and a little bit of sunshine thrown in for good measure as well. But temperatures will be quite disappointing, I think, over the next couple of days. Starting to creep up a little bit on Sunday, fairly breezy over the next couple of days. That at least will move these showers through quite quickly. But looking at the radar from earlier today, it was such a messy picture, very difficult to pinpoint exactly where these showers have been falling. Like I say, some across South Yorkshire and North Derbyshire have been particularly heavy. Through this evening and overnight, they will continue. It's going to stay quite cloudy. Into the early hours of tomorrow morning, it will be drier and clearer for a time, with temperatures dropping off to around 8 or 9 degrees Celsius. High waters for tomorrow, we're looking at finally at 11:46 and then again at midnight. So not a dissimilar start to the day tomorrow to what we had today. Any sunshine will be short-lived. It'll turn cloudy quickly. We'll see this band of really organised and heavy thundery downpours making their way across our region. So if you are heading out tomorrow, certainly head out expecting to get caught in one of these showers. At least with it being a bit breezier, they will be moving through. Temperatures a bit disappointing on Saturday, slightly higher on Sunday, but still some heavy showers in the forecast, Amanda.
Well, at least there's sunshine in your dress.
Yes.
Always a pleasure, Abby. Thank you very much. That's it from us. Have a lovely evening. We're back with the late news and weather at 10:30. Goodbye.